It begun as an ordinary night. He'd make his rounds through the city like the millionth cog in a stinking, rotting machine, picking up strays that are looking for the way home, putting their complete trust in us to deliver them safely, as is the business we both plunged ourselves into, trading the sun for streetlights at neon signs. But this one passenger, this one stranger, was one too many. His rounds were done, but this shadowy figure standing in the pouring rain needed a ride. Unsure if it was the money, the curiosity, or the kindness, he picked this stranger up. Little was remembered after that. After he woke up, he was in a hospital moments from escaping this alive. However, he made a full recovery. This attack was not the first, and I don't think the last. After the recovery, a detective approached.
Much of the evidence leads to you. Many say that you tried to take another and it backfired. This adds up with your driving schedule, but I'm willing to give you the benefit of the doubt. The others want to wrap this up and bring you in, but I'll give you a chance. I'll give you some details about the killer and the deadline. Make your runs and talk to people. You seem capable enough. And if you can't find them, it's your neck on the line. So don't say I can't be generous.
The police has been chasing this fiend for a while now, narrowly escaping their grasp. Why even do this? This mindless taking of lives. Sure, no one is innocent, but the hassle. I figured that making a living as a chauffeur would be better, would it not? I decided to help Bash out, make our runs across this godforsaken city, with nothing but a few names and details. Now it's just hoping we don't out ourselves to the wrong person, when they decide to finish the job. First off, we have to check out our pieces of the puzzle we already have, before we throw ourselves into the thick smoke of uncertainty that we call the night shift. What do you think? Where shall we start?
Let's see, we have Rice Frisk, late night dock guard, human. Seems like he and us work the same hours. Perhaps he'll need a ride back after a shift. Evelyn Holder, historian, Gorgon. You know, snake hair always freaked me out, but it looks like she's a creature of the night, so that might come in handy. Dante Warning, professional chef, satyr, Oddfellows. But usually good for conversation, those satyrs. Seems like you'll need a ride to work tonight. Let's start there.
Our night started quite ordinary, picking up a few regular nightly folks, nothing special. But the darker the night, the worse it gets. People rejecting their values by yielding to their bestial appetites or violence, or perverting their intellect to fraud or malice against their fellow beings. As we arrived at our destination, our first suspect gets in, Dante. This tall goat-like man sat on the back seat, his legs wide and a large grin on his face. His eyes reflecting even the smallest of lights directly back at us, horns as sharp as spears.
So, where to? The Galloping Steed. You know, that expensive restaurant in the middle of the city. You're dining there tonight?
No, I'm the chef there. If I were to dine there, my staff would have to cook for me, and I trust them with a fork as much as with a gun, so I'd rather cook at home. But they should not let me down now. We have the mayor to dinner tonight. If anyone even makes the slightest mistake, they're out. No do-overs. I have no room for errors, not even my own.
So you've never failed at anything before?
That's quite a bold statement. Of course, I failed before. But when you're at a level such as this, failure is no longer an option. And I don't take failure lightly. I haven't in quite some time, but if I were to fail, I'd try anything at my disposal to right my wrong.
Does that mean you practice at home? Do you take your utensils with you?
I don't have to take anything with me. I have my own knives. What an absurd question. I'm a chef, not an office worker. I don't steal. We have arrived at your restaurant. Thanks for the lift, fellows. He leaves with a sour, serious expression on his face as he throws a cigarette in the street.
Well, that was something.
I couldn't sense a motive, but he has a drive.
The thing about mistakes rubbed me the wrong way. If it's him, he'd be after me, no doubt about it. He definitely possesses the skills to take out his targets effectively.
He also had a penetrating stench of ash. He didn't even crack a window when he lit up his cigarette. Anyway, let's write down what he said and see if there's a chance to meet with the other two. A few evenings pass, and the detective is getting restless. We have but a few days, but here's the opportunity we've been waiting for. The monthly gala is taking place, and our lovely Evelyn has been invited. How about we escort her over?
You coming? It's time to visit our scaly friend.
The ride towards our destination feels off. There's an unbroken silence in the car and a lot of tension. The air feels thick, as if each breath brings us closer to the end.
I've never dealt with a Gorgon before. Is it true that she can turn people to stone?
Pretty sure that's just a rumor. I hope.
I forgot my sunglasses at home. We have arrived.
Our banter got interrupted by a back door getting opened. A petite silhouette gets in. As the light from myself and the street hits her, we see a large head full of thick rubbery tubes that end in snakes, and behind those snakes a face with large eyes trying to hide herself. She's wearing a loose black dress and golden bracelets. Clearly she got herself ready for the gala, but the way she acts, she seems hesitant on going.
Good evening, miss.
The first part of the ride, she seems like she's completely disappeared in the back seat, not making a single sound.
Evelyn Holder, right? The gala, was it? Are you alright, miss?
Yeah, sorry, I'm just nervous.
What do you do?
Right now?
No, I meant for a living.
Oh, I'm an historian. I read books for a living. Oh, and I'm trying to write sometimes.
What are you writing?
Historical fiction involving curses.
Sounds interesting.
What history do you study?
Mostly politics. As a matter of fact, many politicians will be coming to this gala tonight.
You like it?
I, kinda hate it. Reading the history makes it worse. I can clearly see that the mistakes in the past are just being repeated till this day. There are too many lies, too many powerful people that have no clue what they're talking about. Nothing is in the right place. I hate it. In my books, everything was decided by the strongest. It was not the smartest decision, but anything is better than the mess we are in now. People are dying left and right, but there's too much talk by the ones that don't know what to do. Sorry, I went on a rant.
It's alright, miss.
We have arrived.
Oh, thank you a lot.
She exits the car and leaves a ground tip. As she disappears into the large spotlights of the party, we drive off.
She smelled a bit off.
Are we going to determine who is the killer by smell?
I'm being serious. An odd smell mixed with perfumes.
Besides that, she really hammered in on politics. But the victims don't all have been politicians. Some have, but not all of them.
They all have been human. How about we finish our rounds and see if we can see our last suspect tomorrow?
As we finished the night, we had an interesting encounter. An elderly lady with her daughter were talking about our very case on the back seat. We kept as quiet as could be. Eventually one of them spoke about a family member that lived nearby one of the crime scenes, and they spoke about a problem the police had on nearly every scene. There seems to be cats nearby at every crime scene. Let's take this hint with us anyway. The night passes and neither of us can even get a single second of shut-eye. As of tomorrow, we have definitely encountered a serial killer that would gladly let Bash take the fall. Or even worse, finish off what was started. As the sun sinks underneath the horizon, we know it's time to get out there. Before heading over to Bryce, we had to escort some ordinary customers. Having these people occupy the back seats gave us some ease of mind. For the most part because we know they wouldn't try to plunge a knife into our backs. As the evening continues to strut on, we made our way towards the harbor's loading dock. As we arrived at the scene, we could see our next target. The moment the doors opened, the foul fumes of oil filled the air. Apparently recently there has been an oil spill in the harbor. Accompanying the toxic air is a man as pale as a ghost wearing a thick blue sweater full of oil stains. He gets in and stares at us in silence.
Is there something?
Please bite your tongue for a second. As he leans forward to examine our faces, we quake in our boots. Have we been outed? Does he have a gun or a knife? You've been sent to investigate me, haven't you?
What do you mean?
Detective Swan, the lady spoke with him and told me that I have to start an own investigation, or my bad reputation of being possibly connected to a murderer will haunt me and put me on the street. But you, Bash, are also on my list. He leans back in comfort. I didn't expect a second man, but I get it. 2 people are safer than 1, especially going after a ruthless killer. I can say little to convince you that it's not me. But how about if you'll drive by these destinations, and perhaps I can help? As we drive off, the air is filled with uncertainty, besides all the oil fumes. When we arrive at our first destination, it's the restaurant of Dante. So Dante was on my list, and I get why. He's skillful with all kinds of cutlery, and one hell of a prick, but he hates competition. Anyone who leaves a bad review is a smudge on his reputation. He never agreed with the political system either, and has had a hate against most humans. As we drive off to the second destination, it is where we picked up Evelyn. And Evelyn, such a loner, someone who dwells in the past. Skills seem like luster, but motive, that's a different story. You know all victims have been humans, but not just that. Humans in a position of power. Politicians, police chiefs, senators, and heads of large companies. But I just don't know how that would help her in any way. Have you taken a look at the apartment of Evelyn?
As we look out the window, we notice that her apartment complex sits on top of a sushi restaurant.
Wasn't there a cat problem at the crime scenes?
So that odd smell mixed with the perfumes must have been fish. No way you determined who the killer was by smell.
Sometimes it's the finer details. Would you two want to do the honors of informing the detective?
You've been extremely helpful, Bryce.
Don't mention it. I just don't want my life to be ruined because of a maniac on the loose.
We'll inform the detective and keep you informed as we take her in tomorrow.
Sounds wonderful.
We drive off into the night.
You listened closely to what he said, right?
Loud and clear. There was no way he could have known about the tip.
Nor how I look like, because the police never took a photo of me.
As we inform the detective, she tells us to do one thing. Bring the suspect to a certain location, because he had always eluded them and would certainly know if they were coming. This is going to be super dangerous. I feel like there's a high chance of it going wrong.
If you're out, I completely understand.
Hell no. As we make our way towards Bryce, informing him that Evelyn has been caught, and would like to take him for a drink and thank him. Our muscles are tense, our minds racing, but our hearts are like high horsepowered engines. We arrive at his place, and there he stands, oddly enough the same outfit as before, but with a long trench coat. As he gets in, we both freeze up for a second before Bash says,
Hard to believe it's over.
Yes, indeed.
A silence falls. As the engine runs and we make our way towards the chosen destination, no one talks the whole ride and tension arises. We try to open our mouths but know that one mistake could surely cost greatly.
You know what? I know an even better joint. The Broken Seal. The one next to the park.
Nah, we're going to our regular spot.
It's... He gets interrupted with a poke against his back.
I insist.
You know, perhaps it's better to break a pattern sometimes.
I can't believe I were so stupid to misspeak. My pawns were set up beautifully. I just didn't expect a simple cab driver to nose around and intervene.
But why did you do it?
You know, Evelyn did have a good point. The system is broken, and no one knows what to do. But that's not why. I just picked the right targets to make everyone think a revolution is on the way. Or a hero for the little guy is about to rise up. But I know I can play either side. I want to stir up the pot, and in either direction I'll be on top.
We have arrived at the park.
Grand, now get out.
As we get out of the car and stand on the grass, we can feel the cold air hit us. Not a soul in sight. Now I understand why this pub, this park and streets have been abandoned for a long time.
On your knees, both of you, hands behind your backs. This will be a grand statement. Killing a human and a mythic together. Everyone would think that the clash is finally going to happen, and it will all start with you.
It was fun, brother. It truly was.
Comfortable, isn't it?
I told you you can't solve a crime by smell.